So I would like to introduce my dear friend, Kilted One, Chris Roberts.
All right. I'm going to turn this on, see if it works without killing everybody. Sweet. Ooh. Ish. You guys hear me okay? Yeah. Let me move it down a bit. Seems to be rather sensitive. That better? Kind of. All right. So, first and foremost, welcome. Secondly, let's get some shit out of the way first. And I love you. We're not rock stars. We're just the same. It just so happens, for whatever bloody reason, people seem to want to listen occasionally. Anybody that calls themselves a rock star, you are allowed to taser them. Nick. Okay, the world's best hacker is allowed to be tased. There are a few of us who have actually decked him over that. This is being recorded, isn't it? Yes! Okay, we're going to have some fun. Let's just get on with it. All right, and there's alcohol up here. If anybody feels the need for alcohol, we will have alcohol. If anybody's offended by the F word as well, I'll apologize now, because we are going to swear at our own industry. So let's have a little bit of fun. A couple of bits of intros. Why are we having this talk? A little bit of the focus on the Woofmutts, and then we'll kind of go from there. Let's do the simple intro. For those of you that don't know me, and wondering who the hell the bearded thing is, I've been fortunate enough to be creeping around this industry probably since I was about 14. My father had me arrested when I was 14. We broke into a bank in the UK using a Commodore 64 and an Atari 6800. Both were confiscated, and I never got them back. Went on, jumped out of airplanes for a living, and then did this kind of stuff. Made airplanes go sideways for a living. Now hanging out with the Ativo folks, yada, yada, yada. Now, the other reason that I'm probably up here as well is because of this. Sometimes our only simple role in life is to be a role model for others in what not to do. Quick show of hands, how many of you are fairly new in this industry, like the last couple of years, or coming into it, wanting to know? The rest of you are cynical old farts, yes? Excellent. All right, well, this is kind of a bit of the other thing. This is the other pair that will feature fairly heavily in this kind of discussion. For those of you that follow me on like LinkedIn or Twitter or anything, a pair of Great Danes have recently, last year or so, kind of come into the family. Daisy is about a 5-year-old now. Milo is now about a 15-month-old, 150-pound slobber monster. So why are we having these conversations? Why are we doing the higher ground? Why are we trying to reach out and everything else? Well, let's put it simply. We're broken. As an industry, we have a few challenges. I'm fortunate, or not, but I get to talk about it a fair amount. Now, here's the thing. This discussion that we're having today isn't about the industry. There's going to be an entire week's worth of shit talking about it out there. We're going to talk about us. Why am I getting feedback? Is that because this one's on? I'll leave it. I'll figure it out. It might just be me. Thank you. It's driving me nuts. Here's the logic on this one. This is how much money we're going to spend in our industry this year globally. $124 billion. That is a serious chunk of change by anybody's imagination. Having just come out of Cyber Week out in Israel, a very interesting individual stood up and put this slide up. That's how much shit we lost in January alone. Don't worry about it. Oh. That's how much we lost in January. Almost 2 billion records. So the question is, what the hell are we doing? And quite honestly, this is kind of where we are. We're not in a good position. We're spending more money, we're losing everybody's data. So this is kind of where we feel. We have upgraded from a dumpster fire. Let's first off have an apology. We screwed up. I've been in this industry for 20 plus years. Probably more than that if you count when I first started. And we spent a long time doing it our way. We spent a long time with us talking to us. We haven't done a very good job. That's the one. Sorry, guys. I am being a pain. How do I turn... That works. It'd be easier. Oh, yeah, that is better, isn't it? Yay. Okay. So here's the thing that we need to really start talking about, and this is really getting to what Kathleen's saying. This should be probably a fairly familiar image to all of us from the science realm. This isn't help me Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is looking at everybody that's coming into this industry. This is looking at everybody that's around us, all the new folks, all the people that are here for the first time or second time. That's our future. Those are the people that we literally need to be taking aside and going, how can I help you? And not only that, anybody that wants to come into this freaking industry. People hit me up on a fairly regular basis, probably the same as a lot of us in here. Hit us up on a fairly regular basis. How do I get in? What do I do? How do I start? Where do I research? I, for good or for bad, have got a set of blog posts that Chris Nickerson, myself, and a couple of other people I respect in this industry have done on LinkedIn and on Peerlist. And I'll send those to people. That's like my first, hey, have a read of this. When you've gone through this, now let's have a conversation, because it gives them a grounding and an understanding. I sat down, when did I get back from Japan? I got back from Japan like Saturday or Sunday. Went out for a drive. I'm sitting in a bloody coffee shop, and I've got my, do you guys, from years ago, EFF did the Fed shirt. Yeah, I was wearing that one in the coffee shop, and a young kid came up to me. She was 16 years old. She's like, hey, are you with the Feds? I'm like, no, but I annoy the hell out of them on a regular basis. And she's like, oh, can I ask you some questions? And we talked for like half an hour. She wants to do like forensics. She wants to do human forensics. So I'm like, here's Hagnadi stuff. Here's this stuff. Here's Nickerson's. Here's Peerlist. This is our role. And not only looking outside of our own industry for people in IT and everything else. I hear so many stories about the fact that we don't have enough people in our industry, that we're missing 2 to 3 million people. Go down the fucking dole queue. Go talk to the pipe fitters. Go talk to the people that maybe aren't building houses. Go talk to those people and encourage them. Hey, you've got a brain. It works. You're inquisitive. How can I help you get into this industry? How can our industry help you learn enough to get a start? Because you know what? One of my best friends, I probably spent 2 hours talking to him on the drive out here last night. One of my best friends works on trains, owns John Deere Model A's and Model B's, can fix hit and miss engines from the 1800s, and as far as he's concerned, a computer and an iPhone is good at about 200 yards for putting a grouping of 5 303 rounds through. But he's one of the best fucking people I know to talk to about our industry, because he has an entirely different perspective. Absolutely entirely. He and I are the ones that did some of the car hacking at DEF CON number 2 down at the Pawn House place. When we went out to ThoughtCon, like number 1 or number 2, and we talked about hacking tractors. That was all him. The aeroplane stuff for 3 years. He and I spent time researching engines. That's his knowledge. And trains that I'm breaking shit on now. We sit with people who are not in our comfort zone. Much more useful to this industry. And quite simply, our job from the Obi-Wan Kenobi side is to help everybody in that field. It literally should be, what's our job? I know X amount of hours for work and X amount of hours for mentoring the hell out of people. And the other part of it is, we need them to learn from what we've done wrong. Not necessarily to not let them do the same thing, because it's interesting to watch other people make similar mistakes, because you're like, hey, I didn't think about jumping off the cliff that way. I like it. Same result, though. But also, yeah, points for style, exactly. But it's also trying to help them understand to make different mistakes. And we have done stuff right, so learn from the successes that we've done. Introduce them to other people in our networks. Carefully sometimes. Now, from my standpoint, I've probably spent the last year or so learning from the dogs, and I'm going to share some of this with you because it's kind of cool. Truth. This is a rough one, especially in our industry, because we all feel we have to adhere to certain things. The mental side of our industry isn't getting enough attention. It's starting to, but it needs a lot more attention. And a lot of it is because, we've put ourselves and we have to be a certain way and we have to do certain things, and it maybe goes against the grain as to who we are. And we fight that on a daily basis. But I'd argue at this point in time, with the way the industry is and the maturity of the industry, find somewhere where you can be true to yourself. I'm fortunate where I am these days that my boss, and I was actually sitting down at a meeting with this morning, he walked down and the first thing he said is like, "Where's the kilt?" And I'm like, I love you just for that. Now the problem is I forgot to bring a belt. I packed all my stuff and forgot a belt. So I could wear the kilt, but it would get hairy and scary at the same time. So I'm going to find a belt, then I'll put the kilt back on, I promise. We are not good at looking before we leap off the cliff at times. Watching the dogs is really interesting. Those two hunt in packs, it's awesome. They go against the squirrels. One antagonizes the squirrel, and the other one sits at the other end of the fence waiting for the squirrel to arrive. We should probably learn more effectively. I am one of those bad role models. I will leap off of the cliff and figure shit out on the way down. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it ends spectacularly. The first time Milo saw snow, he went from the kitchen door probably 3 bounds to get across the patio, landed in the snow, mouth open, and was like 100+ pound snowplow. And all you saw was this flurry of white, black and white, and snow everywhere. He didn't give a shit, didn't know what it was, looked interesting, and he went for it. That, arguably, is what makes us who we are in the hacking community. The inquisitiveness, the desire to challenge, the desire to change, to take shit apart, and potentially put it back together again with a couple of screws left over. But I encourage all of us, get out and experience and step outside that comfort zone. Again, especially as we're mentoring new people into this industry. One challenge I have for everybody here. How many of you do like the ISSA, ISACA, and the local B-sides rather than Summer Camp Madness? Most of us. Here's my challenge to you. Next time you go to one of those, take somebody from the business or take a friend who's not in security. Drag the finance person along, drag HR along, bring legal, bring somebody from manufacturing. If you have to tranquilize them temporarily to get them out of the office, so be it. Bribe them with alcohol, do something, but bring somebody along who's not part of this industry. The funny foot that the Woofmutt has, that is about the 5th or 6th. Ooh, what do you have?
Well, sadly, what I have is not whiskey with an E, which was the request, but I do have whiskey with a Y, and it's not bad.
Can we trade?
Yes, absolutely we can trade.
Excellent. I have this at the moment. Here, hold on to that for a wee second. We have to, that's, who's that? That's just General or that's me?
That's for you.
Oh my
or
God,
whatever
give
you
me
want.
a freaking hug. You're awesome. We have to share it with everybody. Canadian Club, small batch with sherry. It's a sherry cask fit.
Yeah.
I love the freaking gloves.
Thank you.
Sorry, squirrel moments. Yeah, expect squirrels in this damn. We're going to get yelled at.
Whenever a speaker submits a talk.
I didn't submit a talk.
You did sort of.
I got press ganged.
Yes.
Outrageous request that they put in there.
So this is the outrageous speaker request. It was for whiskey with an E, sorry. I sent a Canadian to do a Scotsman's work. It didn't work out. But,
Which Canadian did you send? You have a quiet conversation.
But still, very lovely.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so fucking much. Oh, God.
And there was also a request for puppies, but, sorry.
I was going to bring the beast with me. But A, he wouldn't fit in the car, and I wasn't too sure how he'd react in here, apart from Slobber and everybody. Oh, that's totally cool. Huh? That is true, yeah, that is a good point. Oh, that is totally... All right, this is getting shared with everybody, or anybody who wants some. We will need more glasses in a week. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
I totally forgot. Did I put a request in?
In a moment of weakness. Much like when you accepted this talk.
But gentlemen, we are on the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I better shut up and talk. Thank you. Yeah, let's make sure that goes to everybody. All right, try again. So, squirrels. Yeah, he's got another one of my funny feet. Here's the thing with that damn dog. The funny feet started off on the floor. After he chewed a few, buried a couple in the garden, didn't really damage them, but just slobbered all over them, they moved up a couple of feet. And like kids, as they get bigger and older, they can reach higher. Well, so can he. And they got higher. Now they're on the shelf up here, and he's still trying to figure out how to get the stupid things. All right, communication. This is one thing we are not good at. We have to get better. And not just among ourselves. Shalante.
Slange.
Thank you. Ooh, that's yummy. Oh yeah, that hits the spot. Thank you. All right.
Thanks for talking.
Oh, thank you very, very much. Squirrel, this is yummy. All right, I better finish this, otherwise I'm getting yelled at. All right, we're not good at this. Let's be perfectly honest. Not just among ourselves, but again, as we're bringing people into this industry, help them communicate with a business. Help them effectively discuss risk. Help them have the conversations with the industry in a way the industry understands. Not if you spill my alcohol, I will.
It's alcohol abuse.
Exactly. All right, that's going up there. Do not spill the alcohol. I will retaliate. No, oh, fuck it. All right. You realize this is getting video. We'll have to edit the video. All right. Communicate. Shut the... Give me... Squirrels. All right. We're going on this one. For those of us that came out of the military, we actually had a different way of communicating. It was basically be polite, be professional, and have a plan to kill everybody. Try not to do that in this industry. Replace kill with taser. Is that fair? Good. All right. Carpe tempum. Seize the God damn it. Fucking alcohol attack abuse. Bastards. All right, now you can... They're not weighted. Feel like I'm in one of those damn shows. All right, you're awesome.
You can check them out.
Yes, I'm throwing dogs out. Okay, that one's... How many freaking dogs did you go? All of them. I did. If I take these back, they'll last 2 seconds, and I'll have a set of slobbered things. All right, these are getting thrown out in a second. All right. We're talking. This is great. I love this. Carpe tempe. Seize the moment. This, for me, is a huge one. This is an opportunity discussion. This is taking a leap of faith discussion. This is, I've only got 10 minutes left to talk discussion. All right, you get the idea. People here, conversation, step out of your comfort zone. And the flip side is, when somebody here comes up to ask you, when somebody comes up to ask you a question, maybe that's their moment. Give them the time of day, please. This goes back to this rock star, not rock star comment. That rock star mentality means I'm better than you. Bull fucking shit. I'm no different. None of us here are. If you end up in this space, be the same way, please. Give everybody the time that you possibly can. Make sense? Good. Learn from that one. This one's a good one. We all love taking responsibility for the good things. But when shit goes wrong, and it will go wrong, take responsibility for the bad stuff too. I've done a bunch of stupid things in my time. A bunch. Some of them quite publicly. And you know what? I took the responsibility. I fucked up. I screwed up a company. I screwed up a bunch of stuff. Screwed up a bunch of research. And it happens. I have logic for it. I have discussions for it. I'll own it. And I've learned from it. And hopefully that helps others learn. Do the same thing, please. This one's a big one. Be yourself. Please, be who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin. If you're not, figure out what makes you happy. For me, it is these things. Not quite these things, but the bigger versions. And the whiskey. I love sharing the whiskey. This goes with it. Fuck what anybody else thinks. My mother follows my Twitter feed, which is both good and really scary. And I love her for it. And she gets all the pictures and all the other crazy stuff. But occasionally she's like, Christopher, do we need to have a conversation? Yes, mother. Okay, I have to temper it a little bit. My job with I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw it quite that fast. The sole request from my boss when I started my job was try not to get arrested again, try not to piss off the president, and try to leave airplanes alone. And that was literally it. And for that, I love him. I've been fortunate. I found a good place. If you're not in a good place, find another place. There are a lot of good companies, and there's a bunch around here. Mostly a bunch. You won't let people be who they want to be, but we'll have that discussion afterwards. Most of the people around here will let people be who they want to be. Patience. Have some patience. I'm not good at this one. I will occasionally let my emotions rule everything else. Let's not do that. I will occasionally do that. I've had to learn effectively. All of you do the same thing, and as you mentor people in this industry, as you talk to people, or as you are coming through this industry, take some patience. Take a step back, evaluate the situation, and then move forward. Okay, reality check. When I first got the dogs, I would chase them through the house with a cloth every time they came in muddily. Very quickly, I'm like, this isn't working. I've got a cleaner, it's easier. But there are definitely worse things in life than muddy paws on the carpet. Put shit into perspective. All of us have been there. We've all had really bad fucking days. And we know people around us that have had really bad fucking days. Number one, help those people. We're losing people in this industry. A lot of us are former military and former gov. We lose too many people every single day to people who don't think they can get out from under their problems. All of us, help others around you, please. And if you do feel that way, for fuck's sakes, reach out. There's enough of us here to help and to listen. Deal? Deal. Good. So, wrapping it up. This was our history. To some degree, it still kind of is. This is our future. It has to take all of us. Okay? And I mean all of us. All of us in here know the challenges our industry has. We know the issues. We know the challenges from race, color, creed, orientation, whatever the hell it is. Your job, our job, as people come through this industry, break those fucking barriers down. March side by side with that person to make those barriers broken down. Make sense? Because it's going to take all of us. And that's across the business. This isn't an IT problem, an InfoSec problem. This is everybody's challenge. We all have to figure out how to solve these problems that we have. Because we can, if we work together. As it says, we have to collaborate and communicate a hell of a lot more effectively than we're doing. So as you talk to the vendors and the people in here who are hiring, ask them, what's your communication policy? How do you handle conflict? How do you have hard discussions with people? How do you handle me if I turn up in trousers one day and a fucking dress the next day? How are you going to deal with that? Because that's who I am. Can you handle it? Because if you can, we'll have a conversation. If you can't, why the fuck are you in this industry? And advertising for people in this industry. Make sense? Good. This is the other part. Red teaming's cool. You know what? Dressing up, especially at this age, in a freaking red spangly jumpsuit and jumping over fences, that ain't cool. I don't look good in red spangles anymore. Trust me. Not really, no. It wasn't pretty. The hairy legs just didn't work well. Fixing shit's a whole lot harder. So my challenge to you, focus on bringing people in, but bring them in so they can help defense. Bring them in so they can help the blue teams. Bring them in so we can do what we're meant to be doing, which is protect. Our job in this industry is to protect the people who aren't in this industry. You bring people in, help them understand they're responsible for the charges that are around them. I like this one. This is like one of my favorite ones now. We've all come at this from different angles. All come from different places. But you know what? We're all in this together. Work it out. We, as individuals, will fail. We work together. We collaborate. We help one another. At individual levels, at business levels, in industries, we help everybody up. Then we'll succeed. Traditional end slide, as always. So long and thanks for all the fish. All right, questions?
We have time for 2 questions because our next speaker is already here.
Got it. See? She's prepared. I'm not. 2 questions. Any questions? You don't get alcohol unless you ask a question. Let's just make it simple. Oh, for God's sakes, come on.
Can I have alcohol?
Yes. That was a good question. See, that was easy. Go for it.
Most important advice.
Ask a question. And I'm not, as daft as that sounds, it's actually probably the most important. How many of you are probably sitting here going, you know what, I really want to ask this, but I don't want to look like an idiot in front of everybody. Put the fucking testosterone away and ask a damn question. And the same thing goes in life. Hey, why does that work? How does that work? How do I do that? Why can't I do that? Please, go for it.
Who are some people in the industry that you look up to currently?
Katie probably is one. God, in our industry, that's an interesting one. There's a bunch of folks I love in this. Mark Miller. Mark's awesome. He runs DevSec, all-day DevSecOps, all-day DevOps, whatever the hell you want to call it. He is really spearheading a ton of trying to get development, security, and operations to work much more collaboratively together. That make sense? So Mark would definitely be one. I mean, but there's so many people. You've got one standing at the back. Kathy took a fucking flyer and said, hey, let's do a talk. What do? We did a talk. What is she doing now? She's kicking ass in this industry. Justin Whitehead, he's running around here somewhere as well. We took a flyer on him 5-6 years ago. He's kicking ass in this industry. I look up to him because he just took the what was given and just made the best of it. And he's kicking ass. I know there's so many good people in this industry. Jack, wherever Jack's running around in a multicolored suit. I love him. I mean, he's like the grandfather of our industry. I don't know. Who else? I mean, there's so many good people. Hello. Catherine, I mean, God's sakes, do you know how much freaking effort it takes to put on this kind of stuff? Anybody that runs like a local B-Sides chapter needs to be cuddled and hugged and probably fed alcohol on a daily basis. Yeah, I mean, that takes so much freaking work. I look up to those people because that takes a ton of dedication and work. And there's so many other good people in this industry who have managed to effectively bridge the gap from like the technical industry to the business side and who are doing some amazing stuff. Ruben over IO Active, I mean, some of the research he's put together over the last couple of years is amazing. No, really stop now. All right, I better shut the hell up, otherwise I'm getting yelled at. Did that help? Awesome. Thank you very, very much, everybody.